La institutriz Victoria Winters ha quedado atrapada en la casa vieja a raíz de una fuerte tormenta que se ha desatado en la zona, y Barnabas Collins la ha invitado a pasar la noche en la habitación que en el pasado perteneció a su prometida Josette Duprez. Barnabas hace un esfuerzo por frenar su sed de sangre, pero finalmente este impulso es más fuerte y el vampiro sube a la habitación. La noche se convierte en mañana y Willie Loomis se ofrece a hacerle el desayuno a Victoria. Ella se niega, ya que es tarde y necesita regresar a la mansión.
Did you sleep all right?
Beautifully.
I mean, nothing disturbed you during the night?
Of course not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, nothing?
Did you expect me to see ghosts?
No?
Well, I must say, I expected to, sleeping in Josette's room.
Well, I mean, you didn't see or hear anything?
No. Why do you keep asking?
No reason. I just wanted to make sure you had a good night.
I had a wonderful night. Come to think of it,
Yeah?
for a moment, I did have a feeling as though someone were in the room.
What happened?
Nothing. I wasn't afraid. Of course, it was only a dream, that's why.
Yeah, sure.
Or was it?
What do you mean?
Willie, I know you've changed a lot, but
You think it was me?
was it?
Well, no, I swear I wasn't anywhere near that room.
Are you sure?
Oh, I wouldn't do anything like that. Well, I even offered to take you home last night, remember?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't hurt you. You gotta believe that. I wouldn't want anyone to hurt you. Anyone. You gotta believe that, too. Now, you do believe it, don't you?
All right, Willie. I believe it. There's nothing to get so upset about. Nobody's gonna hurt me. As a matter of fact, when I was in Josette's room, I felt safer than I ever have in my life.
En Collinwood, una preocupada Elizabeth recibe la visita de Julia Hoffman y le manifiesta su preocupación por la institutriz.
Miss Winters, the girl you met the other day, didn't sleep in her room last night. She seems to have disappeared.
You think that maniac...
Oh, no, that can't be it.
Good morning. Hello, Miss Hoffman.
Vicky, thank heavens, what happened?
Well, I was down in the old house when the storm broke, so I stayed there.
Oh, I've been half out of my mind with worry.
I'm terribly sorry. I meant to get back much before this.
But you're safe, that's all that matters.
Why wouldn't I be?
Vicky, you know there's a madman on the loose around here somewhere.
guess I'd forgotten.
How could you? You know what happened to Maggie Evans.
I don't know how I could have forgotten, and I'm very sorry that I frightened you. But you have to admit that I was a lot safer down there with Mr. Collins to protect me than if I tried to get back here in the storm.
Oh, yes, of course. If I'd known you were with Barnabas, I wouldn't have worried at all.
But with no phone, there was no way of reaching you. I truly am sorry.
Oh, it's all right. And thank heavens you were with Barnabas.
Una vez calmados los temores, las tres mujeres conversan sobre el tema de interés de Julia Hoffman. Al igual que Barnabas, Elizabeth no está entusiasmada ante la idea que se investigue la historia de la familia Collins.
I'm sure there's a lot in the Collins family history that you'd prefer remain private.
Isn't that almost true of any family?
Of course. But most families can escape continuing attention. The Collins family cannot. The public's interested. More than that, they're fascinated. Because it's the Collins family. They're going to create legends and myths.
Well, then let them. But I'm not going to supply the material.
Elizabeth se levanta y da por terminada la conversación. Se despide de ambas, ya que tiene otros asuntos que atender. Julia necesita conseguir un apoyo en Collinwood para poder continuar sus investigaciones y ve en Victoria a una aliada natural. Ella le enfatiza la importancia de su trabajo y le pide que trate de persuadir a Elizabeth para que acepte el proyecto. Más tarde, Victoria conversa con Elizabeth sobre el pasado y lo que representa para ella.
Last night, when I stayed in Josette's room, it was like actually entering into the past. And everything was so peaceful and so calm and so quiet. So wonderfully quiet.
Well, you know that's hardly true of Josette.
Yes.
Victoria no puede entender por qué se siente tan involucrada con el pasado. Es como si estuviera atrapada en esa época. Elizabeth se da cuenta que la investigación de Julia podría terminar ayudando a Victoria a ver las cosas con una luz diferente y mucho más objetiva.
What do you mean?
Well, you've been letting yourself be carried away lately by the romance of what's past. Maybe you should find out for yourself just how unromantic it really was.
I'd never think that. But I'd love to work with Miss Hoffman.
All right, then. Why don't you?
Do you mean it?
Tell Miss Hoffman she has my permission to go ahead, and I will cooperate after all.
Oh, thank you.
I'm doing this for you, Vicky. And I'm not so sure you're going to thank me when it's all over.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, up until now, the past has been sort of a dream for you. Now it might become a reality, killing the dream. Has anyone ever thanked anyone for the death of a dream?
Oh, I thought I'd let you know the other day when you came with Miss Winters that visitors aren't welcome.
I'm not a visitor, and I'm not interested in being welcome. I came to see Mr. Collins.
You can't.
Why not?
He doesn't want to see you.
Then I prefer that he tell me himself.
He can't. He isn't here.
Then I'll wait.
He won't be back for a long time.
Just how long, precisely?
I don't know.
I'm in no hurry.
You can't stay here.
Julia ignora las protestas de Willy y va haciendo comentarios sobre la restauración de la casa y muchos de sus detalles. No dispuesta a irse hasta hablar con Barnabas, el nerviosismo de Willy es más que evidente.
I'm a perfectly trustworthy person. You don't have to wait with me. I won't walk off with anything.
I have strict orders from Mr. Collins that no strangers are allowed in here.
I'll explain to Mr. Collins that I'm responsible. Please, Please, try not to be so nervous.
I'm not nervous.
You look absolutely terrified. Is Mr. Collins really that difficult?
Oh, will you stop asking questions?
Well, if he is so difficult, why do you work for him?
Perhaps because he wants to. Or perhaps I'm not difficult at all.
I told her no visitors were allowed.
Not rudely, I hope. You must be Miss Hoffman.
Yes, how do you do?
That will be all, Willie, thank you.
Oh, I promised him I'd take full blame for being here. Visitors apparently make him very anxious.
You must forgive Willie. He's a very strange man, but I found him to be a loyal and valuable servant.
Julia cambia el tema y deja ver la intención de su visita, de la cual Barnabas ya está al tanto por Vicky Winters. Este primer encuentro entre ambos nos muestra sutilmente un enfrentamiento de dos poderosas personalidades.
Certainly feel that your project is extremely interesting.
Oh, then I can count on your cooperation.
I'm afraid not.
Oh? If you think it's interesting.
But my opinion in this case does not affect my decision. And my decision is no,
May I ask why?
if you like. But I don't feel particularly obliged to give you an answer.
I see.
But I do thank you for your interest in my family.
Now, you, of course, are from England.
Oh, I see you've been told my history.
Oh, very slightly. But I would like to know...
Please, Miss Hoffman, I'd prefer not encouraging you any further by answering even your slightest question. I don't mean to sound abrupt, but it would be senseless for me to start something that I have no intention of continuing.
I understand, but perhaps you'll change your mind.
I assure you I will not.
But a man with your interest in the past, sure.
Prefers to keep his interest to himself.
You didn't let me finish. I have done some research of my own. I might know something about your family that you might find extremely informative.
I doubt it.
How can you be so sure?
Well, I can't, but I can be disinterested.
About your family history? Oh, no one who lives in this house could be disinterested.
Well, perhaps then my disinterest is limited to what you might contribute.
Are you sure it would be so negligible?
Not necessarily, but the price I would have to pay is too high.
It'd be a fair exchange. Is that too high a price?
Oh, come now, Miss Hoffman. That's not possibly fair. Whatever you may know, I certainly know much more than you do.
Do you? Well, let me know if you change your mind. You might find it extremely interesting. Goodbye, Mr. Collins. I hope I'll see you again soon.
Miss Winters? Miss Winters!
Oh, I'm sorry, David. What did you say?
What's the matter with you?
What do you mean?
Well, you were just standing here looking out at the ocean. You didn't hear anything I said.
I guess I was daydreaming.
What about?
I'm not really sure.
David le dice que ella parece quedarse pensativa, casi como ausente, con demasiada frecuencia. Ella admite que es un mal hábito que debería romper.
You know something, Miss Winters?
What's that?
I looked at you when you were daydreaming. And I got a funny feeling.
What kind of a feeling?
Well, a feeling that you weren't you when you're like that. That you were somebody else.
Somebody else?
That's the only way I can explain it. Like you were somebody else. Somebody else that was strange. And it frightened me.
Victoria se sorprende ante esa revelación y le dice al niño que ella sabe muy bien que a él le gusta imaginar cosas aterradoras.
Then you're trying to frighten me, and that won't work.
Miss Withers?
Oh, Miss Hoffman. You remember David.
Hello, David.
Hello?
David se entera que ella va a quedarse en Collinwood mientras investiga para su libro y gentilmente se ofrece a mostrarle uno con retratos de la familia Collins.
Thank you. Oh, that's very interesting.
Julia comienza a ver los retratos de los antepasados Collins.
And Barnabas Collins.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah Collins.
Wait, let me see that. Let me see it.
Why?
I've never seen it before.
The picture of Sarah Collins?
No. I've never even heard of her. It's funny.
What is?
She looks just like a kid who hangs around here.
Oh?
Yes, I play with the girls sometimes.
You do?
Up near the old house.
The old house? Oh, yes, where Barnabas Collins lives.
Yes, that's right. She must like to play there an awful lot, because that's the only place I've ever seen her.
It's curious that she should look so much like the girl in the portrait.
You know, it's funny. You want to know something else that's really funny?
What?
The girl I play with, well, her name is Sarah, too.
Is it?
Yes, it is. And isn't that funny?
Yes, it is a strange coincidence. Very strange.
Do you suppose she's a ghost?
Who?
Sarah.
I doubt it very much.
There are ghosts around here.
Yes, I've heard the legends.
They aren't legends, they're real. Do you believe in ghosts?
Victoria regresa con unos libros de historia, impresas privadamente para la familia, y le pide a David que deje de hablar de fantasmas. Él pide salir a jugar un rato, y Victoria le da permiso, siempre y cuando vuelva antes de que anochezca. La institutriz también se sobresalta cuando ve el retrato de Sarah.
Very strange.
What is?
She looks exactly like a sketch I saw once.
But it's Sarah Collins, the original Barnabas Collins.
It was a sketch that the police brought around after Maggie Evans died, but you wouldn't know anything about that.
No.
She was a local girl that was kidnapped by a madman. The sheriff thought that the little girl might be some clue to the kidnapper. And so they brought a sketch of her up here and showed it to Mrs. Stoddard and me. Neither of us had ever seen her before.
I see.
Well, you'll have to excuse me. I've got to get ready. I have a date.
Miss Winters, I wonder if you mind answering one question before you go.
Of course not. What is it?
You were here when they were restoring the old house, weren't you?
Yes, I was very interested in the restoration.
Do you know that if it's authentic to all details?
Well, as far as I know, it is.
Because I saw an engraving once, and there were mirrors in the drawing room, huge gilt mirrors. And when I was at the old house yesterday, I don't remember seeing them. I wonder what happened to them.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing any mirrors either.
Oh? Well, maybe they were put into another room.
No, I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I don't remember seeing any mirrors anywhere in that house, except for the little one in Josette's room.
I see. Well, maybe they've been lost.
Perhaps so.
Julia decide tomar prestado el álbum familiar, ya que planea mostrárselo a Barnabas Collins, en un intento de hacerlo cambiar de opinión sobre ayudarla en su investigación.
I have a feeling this visit will be very interesting.
Más tarde, Victoria y Burt Devlin están en medio de su cita en la Ballena Azul. Ella le comenta sobre el proyecto de Julia Hoffman, y a Burt no le gusta la idea de que esté involucrada. Él cree que ella se ha sumergido demasiado en las leyendas y fantasmas de la familia Collins.
I don't know. It's always affected you before. I'd hate to see it again.
Burke, it did happen again.
What?
The other night, I woke up and I heard a voice coming out of the dark. A little girl's voice.
A little girl?
Victoria le cuenta que se despertó por el canto de una niña, pero cuando encendió una vela, no había nadie en la habitación.
Why would I hear a little girl's voice? Why?
I don't know.
Maybe it was spending the night in that room.
What room?
Josette's room.
You spent the night in Josette's room? In the old house? With Willie and Barnabas there?
I had to. It was the night that storm broke, and I had no way of getting back to Collinwood.
I have a feeling you'd have been safer in the storm.
Oh, Burke. Mr. Collins is a perfect gentleman, and Willie wouldn't hurt me.
Burt está visiblemente preocupado y le pide a Vicky que le prometa que nunca más volverá allí.
Never go to the old house again?
Yes.
I can't promise you that.
Why not?
I just can't, that's all.
What is this fascination you've got for the old house?
I just like going there.
Well, what do you like about it?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because I feel safe.
Safe?
Safe and secure. As though I belong there. I don't know why I feel that way. But I do. And I'm not going to stop going there, Burke, and that's final.
Vicky, I don't know what's happening to you, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Mientras una tormenta retumba en los cielos, Julia regresa a la casa vieja a hacerle una nueva visita a Barnabas.
Good evening, Mr. Collins.
Miss Hoffman. Well, I didn't expect to see you so soon again.
I wonder if I might speak to you for a moment.
Barnabas le recuerda que no tiene nada que hablar con ella, pero Julia le asegura que no viene a obtener información sobre la familia, sino que quiere mostrarle algo. Pese a la negativa de Barnabas, ella sigue insistiendo, por lo que termina por dejarla entrar de mala gana. Una vez adentro, ella comienza a mostrarle los retratos contenidos en el libro y se lo entrega para distraer su atención. Disimuladamente, saca su polvo compacto de su cartera y enfoca a Barnabas con el espejo.
I recognize him from other portraits.
And on the next page is Sarah Collins, the sister of Barnabas.
No hay ningún reflejo de él.
A lovely child, isn't she?
Yes.
Look at her eyes. They're very much like yours.
What are you doing?
Even historians have a certain amount of feminine vanity. I was just checking my makeup.
Well, I've looked at your portraits, Miss Hoffman. Is that what you wanted?
Yes, I'm sorry that you weren't very interested.
Well, I'm afraid your assumption is correct.
Then I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you very much, Mr. Collins, and good evening.
Good evening, Miss Hoffman.
Barnabas está claramente preocupado.
Oh, Miss Hoffman, did you see Mr. Collins?
Yes. Yes, it was a very successful visit.
Was it?
Yes, I learned a great deal this evening.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes, in fact, I think I've learned everything. Everything I needed to know.
Aquellos que vigilan en la noche se mueven sin ser vistos, cubiertos por el manto de la oscuridad. Muchas de las personas que son vigiladas jamás se dan cuenta, pero otras más sensitivas pueden sentir el fuego de la oculta mirada sobre ellos. Adelante.
Ah, Vicky, no sabía si estabas despierta.
Es difícil dormir con una tormenta como esa.
Puedes jurarlo. Me pareció oír la caja de música.
Eso me reconforta.
Ojalá tuviera algo que me hiciera sentir mejor. No me es posible conciliar el sueño.
Caroline, estuve mirando a través de la ventana y me pareció ver a alguien allá afuera.
Vicky, no me digas eso.
Caroline, mira, allá abajo. ¿No ves a alguien de pie detrás de ese árbol?
A mí me parece ver a alguien de pie detrás de cada árbol, vigilándonos. Ahora estoy peor que antes.
Pero es que estaba segura de haber visto a alguien allá abajo.
Well, I'm certainly not going to stand here and let the lightning flash at me.
Caroline decide volver a su habitación y tratar de dormir. Aunque la tormenta amenaza con mantenerla despierta, Victoria también vuelve a la cama en un intento de conciliar el sueño. El sonido de la música despierta a Victoria. Ella trata de encender la lámpara de su mesa de noche, pero descubre que la electricidad se ha ido.
Who is it? Come in. Did I wake you? No, I was already awake. What happened? The lights don't work. Oh, a power failure again. I was sitting there trying to read and suddenly the lights went out. You can imagine how I feel now. I have the feeling that something was here in this room with me. Not now. I have the feeling that I was in some kind of danger. That something intervened.
Las chicas deciden bajar con la intención de quitarse tanto el frío como los nervios, con un poco de café. Encuentran a Julia Hoffman en el salón investigando a través de una pila de libros. La señora Johnson ya ha hecho café y Caroline va a la cocina para traerlo.
I'll be right back. All right.
Mientras tanto, Julia le pregunta a Victoria sobre Josette Collins y sus impresiones de ella. Victoria cree que Josette era una persona cálida, a la que le gustaba la gente, las fiestas y la ropa fina.
But why is it that you're so particularly interested in Josette?
Well, you know, she's made several contacts with me. I've always wondered why she chose me to be her medium.
Was there anything else that specifically stimulated your interest?
Well, there was the restoration of the old house and seeing her room. And of course, talking to Barnabas Collins about it.
Yes, Barnabas Collins. I imagine he influenced you, too.
Well, I think that Josette was his favorite, too. He knows so much about her.
So I've learned. It was his idea that you wear Josette's dress at the party, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Did you want to do that?
Of course. I felt very honored that he would want me to come as Josette.
What's that you have?
It's a music box.
Oh, it's quite beautiful.
It belonged to Josette.
Josette?
Yes. Mr. Collins gave it to me.
Barnabas Collins gave it to you. Would it be too personal a question to ask why?
No, not at all. He said it was out of gratitude for having me help him make his party a success. The most wonderful present I've ever gotten. Would you like to hear it?
Yes, very much.
Isn't it a beautiful melody?
Yes, it is.
I especially love the tinkling sound it makes.
La melodía tintineante despierta la señal de alerta en Julia, quien recuerda su sesión con Maggie Evans, en la que ella intentaba describir dicha música.
Miss Hoffman, why are you asking so many questions about Josette?
She's fascinating from an historical and literary point of view.
Yes, I suppose I can understand that. Josette was the kind of woman that anyone would want to be. Everything about her was so distinctive. Even her perfume.
What do you know about her perfume?
It was jasmine.
Jasmine. It's a rather strong fragrance, isn't it?
Oh, yes, very strong and very unforgettable. Mr. Collins let me wear some the night of the party.
Mr. Collins had some?
Yes, it's in a bottle in Josette's room.
A strong fragrance and a tinkling melody. Very, very interesting. Mr. Collins allows you to wear Josette's dress and perfume, fills you in on her history, and gives you the music box.
What are you trying to say?
Wouldn't it seem that he's trying to recreate Josette?
No, absolutely not. I think that's an absurd notion.
Oh, it's just a thought, an impression I had.
Why do you ask so many questions?
The nature of my work.
But all of your questions are directed at Barnabas Collins.
I'm interested in the Barnabas Collins of the last century.
Well, I don't like what you're insinuating.
I'm not insinuating, I'm merely observing.
Well, I'm not sure that I'm interested in any of your observations.
I'm sorry.
I'm very tired, excuse me.
Victoria sale molesta, justo cuando Caroline regresaba con el café, el cual rechaza.
She seemed upset.
Coffee smells good. I guess it must have been the storm that upset her.
No, I don't think it was the storm.
Oh, thank you.
I think it was the music box.
The music box?
Caroline le cuenta lo que pasó con la caja de música mientras ella dormía y la sensación de que alguien había estado en su habitación. Victoria se puso muy ansiosa por la tormenta y se quedaba mirando por la ventana, con la idea de que había alguien parado allí afuera. Para Caroline, eran solo efectos de la luz de los relámpagos.
You know how it is with the lightning.
Yes. Tell me, do you think that Miss Winters has an inclination for the supernatural?
I never really thought about it that way, but strange things do seem to happen to her.
And Barnabas Collins.
Antes de que Julia pueda interrogar a Caroline sobre Barnabas, la luz regresa y Caroline se despide rápidamente para irse a descansar. Julia le dice que ella se quedará un poco más, terminando algunos apuntes.
La tormenta ya cesó.
Así parece.
Ya se acerca el amanecer.
Lo sé. Siempre lo he sabido. No lo puedo controlar. Aunque quisiera hacerlo. Quisiera hacer que la noche fuera eterna. Pero eso es una cosa que no lograré jamás. Tendrás que ir a Portland esta mañana. ¿Tienes la lista de lo que necesitamos?
Sí, señor.
Necesito que vuelvas lo antes posible.
Sí, señor.
Bien. Quiero que cuides muy bien la casa, Willie.
Siempre lo hago, señor.
La señorita Winters estuvo aquí el otro día.
Pero usted dijo que podía venir cuando quisiera.
Lo sé, pero trajo con ella a la señorita Hoffman. Y no sé quién podrá ser. Hace demasiadas preguntas. Demasiadas. No me gusta tenerla en esta casa. Es hora de que yo me vaya abajo. Tú también debes irte.
Está bien. Volveré pronto.
Julia recibe la visita del Dr. Goddard, quien nuevamente le reclama su falta de comunicación. Ella sigue guardando silencio y no le hace llegar ningún tipo de información.
In either case, then, you're asking for something I am not prepared to give.
All right, then. You leave me no choice.
About what?
I'm going to remove my patient from your care.
What do you mean?
I'm going to take Maggie away from Wincliffe.
Oh, you can't do
No,
that.
you know perfectly well that I can. And I'm going to. Now, her father put her in my charge. I sent her to you only for special treatment.
Which I'm giving her.
Well, I see no evidence of it.
You're angry because I haven't given you a day-to-day report.
Only because I think I'm entitled to it.
I agree. But I told you again and again that I can't give you any reports yet.
That answer isn't satisfactory anymore.
Oh, in a way, I don't blame you. I'm getting a little impatient myself.
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry to say I've made almost no progress at all.
You mean you haven't come across anything?
Not a thing, but I would like to keep at it for a little while anyway.
I'm a little surprised. I've never seen you discouraged before.
So far, it's all been very tedious. Oh, the way things are going, I may never find anything. I have a feeling that I'm going up a blind alley. Well, maybe I was wrong.
You know, that doesn't sound like you, Julia.
Oh, it's me, all right. So So you can see why I haven't been giving you any reports.
Are you telling me the truth?
What do you mean?
Are you sure this isn't just another tactic to get me to stay quiet and keep out of the way? I know you for a long time, Julia. You always know what you're doing and where you're going. If you don't waste time. You know something. I know you do.
I know that I'm tired. I'm a little bored. Very, very bored.
Goddard acepta a regañadientes permitir que Maggie permanezca por un tiempo en el sanatorio Wycliffe.
Trust me.
Oh, I do. I suppose I shouldn't, but I do.
Maybe it would be better if we didn't have these meetings here. I mean, people might really find out I'm not really doing historical research.
Well, maybe from now on we can try to arrange meetings at my office.
Oh, Vicky, I was just about to answer.
I'll get it. Hello, Dr. Woodard.
Hello, Vicky. I guess I should say goodbye. I'm just leaving.
Oh, has Miss Hoffman told you about the exciting work she's been doing?
Oh, yes. I just got a full report.
Y quien tocaba la puerta es nada más y nada menos que Barnabas, quien se sorprende de ver a Goddard y a Julia juntos.
No one's ill, I hope.
No. Just a social call on my friend, Miss Hoffman.
Oh.
Well, good night, Julia. And hope I see you soon. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Dave. I will.
Bye. Mr. Collins, Vicky. Thanks, Vicky.
Well, I didn't know that you and Dr. Woodard were old friends.
Oh, yes, from undergraduate days. Then he went on to medical school, and I went into historical research.
Apparently.
Are you sure, Mr. Collins, that I can't change your mind about cooperating with me?
As a matter of fact, that's why I came.
Oh?
I'd like to have a word with you. It won't take long.
Oh, I'll get my notebook.
Oh, there's no need for that.
Oh, I'll be right back.
I'm glad that you're going to talk to her. Perhaps you'll even let her look at your library.
And how have you been enjoying the work?
I'm not sure.
Oh?
Barnabas se desconcierta al saber que Victoria no está disfrutando de la investigación histórica. Ella le dice que se siente confundida y a veces siente que su fascinación por el pasado está afectando su presente y le da miedo.
Of what?
Of being trapped.
Trapped?
Yes, sometimes I think that I'm going to get so far into the past that I'll never be able to get back.
Well, you mustn't be afraid.
Mrs. Stoddard let me do the work with Miss Hoffman in the hopes that it would give me an objective view of the past. Doesn't seem to have helped.
You're as attracted to it as ever.
Yes, I am. And it's got to stop.
Victoria le pide que no se ofenda, pero ha tomado la decisión de devolverle la caja de música, porque ejerce una gran influencia sobre ella. Es como un hechizo. No puede evitar escucharla todo el tiempo, aunque quisiera no hacerlo.
But it can hardly hurt you. The music is lovely, and Josette herself was enchanted by it.
I know that.
Well, please, you must keep it. I'd be very hurt if you didn't.
But then, what am I to do to keep from being so attracted by the past?
You know what I think you should do?
What?
Well, I think you've been so deeply affected because the music is so unusual. But, I think that you should let it become quite ordinary.
You mean that I should let it become even more familiar?
Well, doesn't that make sense?
I guess it does.
But then try it and see. And if after a while you're still disturbed by it, then I'll take it back. And please, don't be afraid of what being trapped by the past means. After all, one should be afraid of being trapped by the present.
Barnabas ha venido a disculparse con Julia por su comportamiento del otro día.
Oh, I see.
It was rude and a little abrupt. I apologize.
You know, of course, what you could do to make up for it.
My apology isn't sufficient.
You could tell me what you know about your namesake and his sister Sarah.
I told you. I know nothing.
What puzzles me is why nothing had such an effect on you.
Well, I have heard parts of the story, as everyone has, and it's always been deeply affecting.
Sarah was the only one he seems to have loved. And from the picture, one can understand why.
Please, I'd rather not discuss it. If you have accepted my apologies, and you're willing to forget the entire situation...
Even I remember the picture. The picture exudes an innocence. She was a lovely child.
If you'll excuse me, I really must leave.
Of course, the person I really care most about is your namesake, the original Barnabas Collins.
A rather dull person from all accounts.
All accounts?
Well, from all the accounts that I've come across.
Oh, then perhaps I've uncovered some things that you're not familiar with.
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I find Barnabas Collins, well, not you, of course, the original Barnabas Collins, the most fascinating of all the Collinses.
How can you? He went to England when he was very young and died there almost obscurely.
So the story goes.
You mean you've uncovered some new facts?
I told you when I first met you that I knew a great deal about a great many things.
May I ask what you've discovered?
Oh, if you remember at the time I offered you an exchange of information. I would tell you everything I knew if you would tell me everything you knew. You refused.
I can't believe that you really have found out anything startling.
Maybe I have, and maybe I haven't.
Have you been doing some special research on Barnabas Collins?
Yes, I have. Very special.
And what would you like from me in exchange for that information?
Oh, my original offer still stands. You tell me everything you know, and I'll tell you everything I know.
Well, it hardly seems fair, since obviously I know so little by comparison.
Do you?
If you're willing, perhaps we could talk tomorrow at my place.
I'd like that very much. Shall we say tomorrow morning?
I'm afraid that wouldn't be convenient.
Oh. Well, tomorrow afternoon, then.
I won't be available until the evening.
I understand. Completely.
I look forward to it.
So do I.
Then it's agreed.
Very definitely.
Then until we meet again.
Until then, I'm happy it's to be so soon.
So am I.
I've never been able to get used to the resemblance between you and this portrait.
It is amusing, isn't it?
Amusing? I find it uncanny.
Well, my cousin Elizabeth finds it almost unbelievable.
Oh, unbelievable? I don't find it unbelievable. I find it completely believable. After all, you are closely related. Very closely related.
Leyendo entre líneas, está claro para Barnabas que Julia sabe más de lo que está contando.
I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to our next meeting.
I can hardly wait. I can't wait till tomorrow. And I'm sure you can't either. Who is it?
Miss Hoffman, it's Vicky.
Lynn.
I hope I'm not bothering you, but could I talk to you for a few minutes?
Of course, what's wrong? You look worried.
Victoria también le plantea sus inquietudes a Julia. No está segura de si debería seguir trabajando con ella y le explica las mismas razones que le dio a Barnabas. Julia solo puede comentarle que en su caso ella se toma su trabajo muy en serio y aunque a veces parezca obsesiva, no deja que esa obsesión tome el control. Y si lo hace o no, no importa. El trabajo en sí es lo más importante, aunque a veces tenga que perder su objetividad.
What's the matter?
That dog.
Is there anything unusual about that?
It's getting closer.
Well, don't be upset. You look frightened.
I heard a dog howling the night that Maggie Evans vanished. I suppose it's nothing to get frightened about, but I keep remembering.
I wouldn't let it worry me if I were you.
I seem to get frightened about so much lately.
Why don't you get a good night's sleep and then we'll talk it over in the morning?
I'm sorry I'm keeping you up.
Don't worry. There's nothing for you to be afraid of.
Thank you. I hope that dog's not going to keep that up all night. Good night.
Good night. Good evening, Barnabas Collins. I've been waiting for you for a long time. A very long time.
Sombras tenebrosas.